Good morning and welcome to another SaTAROTday with Salon. Loving my hair today. Oh, look at that. That's bedhead because I'm not waking anybody up this morning. Been up for about a good hour, did some meditations and some shadow work this morning. So feeling really good, don't care about the hair, and ready to get started for tarot today. All right, let's get started. So today I am using a tarot deck that I've never used before. So I like doing the different tarot decks. Sometimes I'll use, some standard decks that I've used before. These tarot decks get stuck. This particular, I'm trying not to make too much noise by hitting my desk because I know that makes kind of a ruffly noise on my mics. I'm trying to do that less, but it's making it hard to shuffle. But anyway, we're going to run quick today and roll right into the Guardian Tarot by Beth Silonen. I don't know if I've said that properly, but this is a tarot deck, again, the Guardian Tarot, that's a little bit different from some other ones that I've used. The imagery is very ethereal. It's very alien. And I really like the nondescriptness, and I think that might be one of the goals of the deck. Being that there's images on there that don't have like a gender, they don't have a descript face of whether it's human or non-human. And it is very important to me in this deck that it does that because it really asks you focus on the detail and meaning of emotions and things that are being conveyed in the message, and less on some of the constructs, that we tend to get lost in. So, when you remove that focus on the human constructs, then you're left with the spiritual meaning sometimes. That isn't always the case, but it's common because we like to have meaning, we like to assign meaning as human beings, and that's just something that we do. So we did some really good shuffling this morning because it was a new deck. So before we started, we did some pretty high class shuffling here. Look at that. I love this. Like, I usually will at least do my hair a little bit, but today let's just roll with it, right? But we're looking for messages right now of, what in our life is it that we're working on? And this is kind of standard for our monthly tarot and weekly tarots to kind of give us those messages of how are things going? How are we working through the energies that are around us? And so I thought that the Guardian Tarot would have been a good selection, or is a good selection today. Because there's a lot of things going on in my life that are requiring protector status. There are some things going on in my shadow work that are having me look at the idea of the protector or the emperor of tarot. There's a lot of change in my life and a lot of things that are happening. So I feel protector status needs to be elevated right now. Guardian status, hence the Guardian Tarot. And I feel like that's the same for the energies that are going on around us. We are certainly moving forward and things are brightening and the world is changing. And lots of things are very bad, but lots of things are very good too. So when we look at the Guardian or the Protector to give us guidance, we're not looking for how to reduce risk or how to keep ourselves from being hurt. We're looking for what energies are going to allow us to step forward in our best light and still feel confident and build grace and confidence at the same time. So let's ask the tarot what energies we have today. So our first pull is the Seven of Swords, followed by the Six of Pentacles, the Five of Pentacles, and the Two of Cups. Now notice I pulled 4 cards today because when I think of protection and I think of guardianship, I think of stability, I think of 4 corners, I think of home, I think of structure with something on it that protects us from the elements of rain and the firestorms. I don't know what words I'm making up today. This has been constant. Thunderstorms, lightning storms, and maybe firestorms of life. Maybe that's a slip there, right? But all of those things that come up that our homes protect us from, right? The cold, the heat. Our homes are protection and guardianship, right? So we're going to talk about a couple things, and unfortunately, not all of these cards are going to be the most fun, but they are very enlightening. So let's talk about each card individually first, as we always do, kind of like our little learning curve here. The first card was the Seven of Swords, and sevens are often about reflection. Sevens are often about looking back on yourself and seeing how's it going, what's happening. Do I have questions about things that are happening around me? Now, you throw that on the swords, this air card, right? The swords, these can be about change, they can be about obstacles. So apply those two together. We need to reflect on the things in our life that are changing because we need to make good decisions on those. We need to think about, was that the right thing to do, or is that the right thing to do, right? If it's beforehand. And kind of take a moment and contemplate. And you'll see in the Seven of Swords card, there's birds, there's this individual that's got the tree, this being that has a tree growing out of it. This is the guardian. And the guardian is reflecting upon and contemplating decisions and changes and things that have been made. So that's what we need to do. We need to contemplate either recent changes that we've made in life and decide, was this really the right thing? But don't do it with judgment, because it very well may be the right thing. So don't judge it. Just ask the questions, commune with it, communicate with it, ask it. Ask yourself without judgment if the decisions you've made are beneficial to you, and if they're not, change them again. Our second card is Six of Pentacles. Now, 6 can really be about connection. So 6 to me is a very spiritual number of plug, right? You see, you have 2 3-pronged plugs, a receptacle and a plug, right? And so that's 6 items or 6 connecting points, one on each side. So think of it that way. Or I think of it that way from a perspective of that connection, or that coming together, or putting the pieces together, or working with others. You add into that the pentacles, right? So our pentacles are physical, right? They are our strength. They are the element of protection, if you think about it, right? Earth. And our talk today is about guardian, protecting, right? So let's talk about our Six of Pentacles being the communication on the physical realm. So thinking about the 7 that we just had, the 7 of Swords, and now looking at the 6 of Pentacles, we're reflecting on our thoughts and our recent changes, or a change we're about to make, and not judging it, but just reflecting on it and seeing and thinking it through and contemplating it. But now the 6 of Pentacles is saying, you're having a little bit of difficulty perhaps communicating in the physical world. Maybe you're not asking the right people to give you advice on this situation, or maybe you're giving too much thought into the physicality of things, or maybe you're worried about, I'm changing jobs, but the money, it's not what I'm used to, it's less, but maybe you're going to be more happy. That's something that you're going to have to answer. But the 6 of Pentacles is supporting your 7 of Swords by saying, whatever it is, you need to communicate in the physical world about something that's happening to you, or something that's going to be happening or going on. We need to talk to each other. This is definitely a message of open communication with people and things that are here now. This is not about connecting to the spiritual realm. This isn't about talking to your deities, although that's always a good thing if you do it. or just chatting with your friends. This is desired, specific communication and saying the hard things clearly and concisely so that there's no confusion. This also takes us to our next card, which is also a Pentacles card, also a Earth card, meaning, right, also guardian and protectorship. But it's a 5, and the 5 almost always numerologically represents some kind of potential challenge. So this is all leading up to something that's very difficult and challenging for you. Maybe you're afraid to have this discussion. Maybe you're afraid to talk about what this is, or even ask advice of others because you don't want them to necessarily know either what you're going through, why you're going through it, or that maybe you don't think you're confident enough to go through it. You're going to have to get over that. The Pentacle says to be strong here on Earth and confront your challenges head on. We see these things as difficult or negative or challenges because we don't necessarily feel comfortable with them. And looking back at the other two cards so far, if you reflect and contemplate, meaning you give the decisions of your life or of what you're doing the time to actually be answered properly, and you communicate them clearly and concisely with specifics, then the challenge becomes something that you are confident in and that you can overcome. So use that confidence and use that to really go into the 5 of Pentacles and say, hey, this is hard for me. Contemplate, why is this hard for me? Why is this uncomfortable? And then communicate, what do I need to do to make it less uncomfortable? And how can I make this whole energy thing or situation work better for me? And then our final card, which I think is absolutely on point and beautiful for this read, because remember, I don't normally pull a 4th card from the same deck. Usually it's 3 cards, sometimes 3 cards and then a clarifier from another deck. But this one is just, I felt the need to pull a 4th card for a protection reason. And it gave me the 2 of Cups. So 2s, right? We talk about 2s often as balance. Think of it as a number. What do you see in pairs? You see people in pairs. You see, I don't want to say pairs of underwear because that just would make me chuckle, but it represents balance, the 2 sides of a coin, the 2 sides of the scales. 2s are often about connection of love too, especially when you're in the Cups arena. But think more of it as a duality of balance, right? And so all of the things that were read in the cards up to now with the swords, which is your air and your thought and your mindset and your logic, and then your pentacles of your strength and your support and your here-ness and your tangible worldness. And now we're adding in the emotion. We're adding in the emotion of the 2, of the balance. So when you're thinking about what is happening, this is maybe a pro-con situation. As silly as it sounds, maybe you need to write pros and cons of the things that are happening right now and decide what it is you're working on. Whatever the message is today, it is clear that you need to be thinking through things and they need to be all out on the table. Don't hide pieces or feel uncomfortable with pieces. This is truly contemplate and think through it and consider it. This is truly use your communication techniques and be honest and say exactly what you're thinking, even if it's not right. You still need to say it and get it out there in a non-judgmental fashion and allow it to be expressed and seek the advice and input of others without changing your mind just because that's what they want. It is a challenge for you, and you need to find out why you're having that challenge with the earth energy. And then the 2 of Cups is you're looking at this and need to look at this from a balance. What is going to give you the most peace? The answer to the questions in our life this week and the upcoming energy is the search for balance and peace in what we're doing. So if you look for that peace and look for that balance, you're going to have emotional comfort and calmness. Now, that's the read for this week. I do want to point out a couple of things though, just from an imagery perspective. When we went from air, so think of, as we did the tarot read today, we talked about again the summary of contemplating our decisions and giving them time to breathe and think them through. be communicative about them. Say it out loud to yourself and to others, and even maybe write it down in a pro and con so that you can see them and so that people can give input but don't change because of their input. You have to decide because you're seeking through your own challenge of how to make difficult decisions and work through wishy-washy decisions or indecision even, and then moving it into a place that's going to be peaceful and balanced for you on an emotional aspect, and that will happen. So let's talk about that. We've walked from air into earth into water. Think of that direction. We need to think about it first, then we need to hold on to it and be stable with it in the earth. And then we need to allow our feelings to come through it with the water. So that's the tarot today. We've gone through those three energies. You can see the colorations of what we're doing too. The air card is blue and yellow. The two earth cards are very blue. So think earth as the time of year of winter, right? Of a little bit of stop and stagnation. In the winter, things are barren and cold and stopped. So that the earth, and so that Mother Earth can rest. It's the same thing with us. So take the energies of thoughtfulness, stability, and emotion, all calm things as we go through, and those colors of this yellowy blue into the blue and then into the reddish pink of the cups, which is your full springness. I don't know if springness is the right word, but your springtimeness, your new creationness of things starting to grow, I think is probably the best way to put that. So follow the colors, follow the elements through, and that will help you read the energies in your cards. Also look at what's missing. So what's missing in our read? Fire. So this week, and you can say like fire is the creative and the passion, right? We talk about that a lot. It's also like your work related things. That's not here. So what that tells me is that right now with this energy read, we're not in a fiery perspective. We're not trying to create new things. We're not trying to spark life and get out there and go do these amazing things and let's work it and let's, it's not this high energy. This is a lower energy, slower process of internalization and things that are going on in our lives. If I had a fire card in this read, what would it change? Well, it would say, okay, we got to move on this. This is something that's going to need to happen soon, or it's going to cause you some more issues and discomfort. And if we don't take some sort of action or apply some sort of creative juices to it, then it might fail. That's not in this read. So we're not focusing on the action part of things. What we're focusing on is the thinking, the doing. So doing something is action, but not the spark of new action of creating something new or really forcefully going out. This is the earth action, and that's just the constant, consistent hum and motion of contemplation and thoughtfulness and decision making. So that's why the read is a little bit muted on. For me, it's because of that fire difference or that fire missing out of this particular read. Does that mean the element of fire isn't present? No. It just means that when I read tarot, and I want to share some of those things with you on how I read, I like to look at patterns. I like to look at what's there, what's not there, the colors that are there, that are not there. I like to look at how we walk through the energies. So that's it for today. I hope that was helpful to you. I really enjoyed this reading. I enjoy all of them, but this has really given me some personal help of, I'm going to go out with some friends today and just take it easy. I'm going to think about some of the things that are bothering me. I'm going to ask myself, why are they bothering me? And is there something that I need to do differently? I'm not going to judge myself for anything that I'm thinking of. I'm going to communicate it to my friends and family and see if they have any input, but I'm going to make the decision. And my soul is going to be searching for an emotional balance out of this whole process of what's happening. So if you follow that method and that process, I think you'll find some balance and some emotional peace as well. If you like what we're doing here at Two Pondering Pagans, including this tarot and future tarots that I'm trying to get Rook to do and other things, then please look at our other videos, subscribe, and you can go in and see all the different things that we're working on with the new Eclipsing the Shadows and all of those other episodes that we've been putting out. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. How do you read? What do you like to see? How did you feel about today's read, or what would you maybe have read differently? I want to hear all of that stuff. Just do it kindly and do it without anger, frustration, or judgment. That's the only thing we ask towards me or anybody, really, because there's enough shit in the world, right? We don't need any of that. So thank you again, and I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend and a wonderful upcoming week.